Here we go. AK Powders, welcome back to the weekend. We do cartoons, we do animation. We've been doing some Daredevil just because all the kids are enjoying Daredevil Born Again. Well, not really. I think a lot of the stuff I see online about the Disney Plus revival of the Netflix Daredevil, it's split. But we're taking a deep dive in Daredevil in other media. So we're wrapping up the cartoons because he's had 3 cartoon appearances until the modern age. We're talking 1994, the Spider-Man animated series. What is far better than the X-Men animated series, by the way. Let's get into it. This is a season-long storyline. It's huge, it's epic, but that's the way this show was structured. Let's go.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed, sound production, take 1.
Action!
Yeah, so on the weekends, if you haven't been able to tell from the thumbnail, we want you to grab a bowl of cereal, hang out with us, hang out with me, aka Pad, and the wonderful and the courageous aka Pad Army. Sit down, be adults, and talk cartoons. Look, I used to say, the hell with talking about cartoons. I'm here to talk about stories when it comes to the aka Pad Film Buff podcast. But, well, anyway, some of the cartoon stuff I experimented with along the way, and it did pretty well. So I know a lot of you like these deep dives. You guys like these month-long dissections. You like some of the anime, and you guys, and including me, I love this era of American animation, of American syndicated animation. I feel that this show, the '94 Spider-Man, is, I would say, this and Exo Squad, like the clear height of what we can do with a script to animation. Now, Exo Squad only had 2 seasons. Spider-Man's had 5 seasons from 94 to 98. But Exo Squad, I would say more bang for your buck because it's a shorter lifespan. But overall, this is the series. This is what you should focus on if you're interested in really what the pinnacle of animation was at this. And we're not talking theatrical animation. And what's the difference? Well, a lot of syndication, a lot of TV animation, it's lower frame rates, it's much lower budget, so you're drawing less characters, you're voicing less characters. You have to be a little bit smart, a little bit more economic to get things done. Animation studios can work in low and high budgets. The way how they're able to toggle and sing for those 2 different scenarios and what they're able to produce is part of the magic and mystery of the animation industry. This is really what I view as a all hands on deck series. Season 3. This is the season long storyline of the sins of the father. Overall, it ran from episode 28 starting in April 27th, 1996. Season 3, episode 1, chapter 1, Doctor Strange. It goes all the way to the 41st episode overall, the 14th episode of this season, November 23, 1996. And just about right smack in the middle, we have a great episode run here, because it kind of starts with Rocket Racer in chapter 5. Chapter 6, Framed, Peter Parker meets Matt Murdock, so we're back to that trope. The the other scenario in our previous Fantastic Four cartoon, we liked the idea that Daredevil showed up as Daredevil in that and tried to help the Fantastic Four as Daredevil without much assistance from Matt Murdock. Here, so this is like the 3rd time overall within media. If we include the trial of the Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner in that, or I believe Stephen Banner in that, is introduced to Matt Murdock because of criminal activity. Previously, Peter Parker was introduced to Matt Murdock in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends in the early 80s. And now we have the mid-90s where Peter Parker is introduced to Matt Murdock yet again for criminal help. Now, I will say this. It's a fun, fantastic way to introduce Daredevil to the audience through Matt Murdock, because Matt Murdock has a job that people need. People need lawyers. Superheroes, I guess, also need lawyers. She-Hulk is the superhero lawyer, not Matt Murdock. With that said, She-Hulk was never popular enough to be inserted into these episodes to get a little bit of that Easter egg, a little bit of, wow, they're really doing this, open eyes, pop. She-Hulk never got the conversation going, ever. In the history of the world, I get it. She has a Disney Plus show, but that's where we're just going to leave that one and move on. I'm not even sure if we'll ever do the She-Hulk. You know what? Every time I say that, I'm making my famous last words. We will eventually get to the She-Hulk Disney Plus show. Trust me. Yeah, I think even now, like, letting some time pass and just getting reintroduced to it, why the hell not? Because Daredevil's in that show. Maybe we should. Maybe we should talk about it. The way I talk myself into things. Yeah, so Daredevil's in 2 episodes, back-to-back episodes of this season. Episode 6, Episode 7, 33 and 34 overall. Spanning from September 21st to September 28th. So we can argue Daredevil wraps up September 96 for the Spider-Man animated show. Chapter 7, The Man Without Fear. Here we go. This is where we get this sprawling concept. And I say it in the text of, let's just say you happen to get the DVDs for this. Because at the time, Marvel wisely was rolling out almost like movie-level DVD releases from this and from X-Men, because so many of the episodes were interconnected. You can crank out 2 hours worth of content and have it be, a flowing storyline. So they did a Daredevil Spider-Man DVD. And let's just say you bought that, or you caught these episodes randomly, and you could have been a Daredevil fan. Here's the amazing thing. Peter Parker assumes that the Kingpin is a good guy because he's wrapped up, and Kingpin's son is screwing with Peter Parker during the season. And Daredevil has to tell Spider-Man, has to tell Peter Parker, essentially, that the Kingpin is this crime overlord that Peter Parker and Spider-Man have been chipping away at, because they know they know there's another element out there. Kingpin uses and abuses Peter Parker, sets him up, tries to toss him into the trash because, well, Peter Parker has a disc, and the disc has information, and it's all of that fun espionage stuff. It's a lot like Mission Impossible. But in this episode, in Chapter 7 of Sins of the Father, Spider-Man learns that Kingpin is a bad guy, and Daredevil is the one that breaks it to him. And I love that moment. I think that is such a character world-building moment to where the audience knows more than the character sometimes. And it's great when that can get breached. Now, this episode wraps up the way we want it. If you're going to have an episode called The Man Without Fear, guys, this is the first time, animated or in any other form, Daredevil is going to fight Kingpin. He fights him one-on-one, and it's a lot of fun. So, the other, I get like just a little, I get frustrated talking about these because even at this time, Daredevil really was the artistic peak, the height of what we can do with comic books, being a ground-based character, seeing what Frank Miller could do with the whole Daredevil thing and the mythology and the new things that Frank Miller birthed into the title and into the whole mosaic of the Daredevil story arc. Like the story arcs, the whole mosaic of the comic book line, or the volume, I'll say volume 1 Daredevil. But around this time, too, Daredevil, he dropped in popularity within the comics. So much so they had to restart the series in the hopes of bringing in hot new talent, and to have that carry. And it carried over. It carried for about 12, 13 years. So Daredevil Volume 2, huge success. It did the job. It brought this level of artistry and darkness back to the character, thanks to Brian Michael Bendis, Joe Quesada, Jimmy Palmiotti, Kevin Smith, it's David Mack. The list goes on and on. It all connected back to the Frank Miller era, which is what Marvel drifted away from post Miller leaving the book and only coming back in the miniseries and like a graphic novel here and there. But Daredevil, Frank Miller wanted to tell the tale of the complete arc of Daredevil. So he kind of started, he went forward a little bit with Elektra Lives Again, then he went backwards with Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, five-issue miniseries, which is masterful too, by the way, guys. But the character was in a lull period, was maybe at its absolute bottom. This series had 1 million action figures. It seems like every single guest star had a freaking action figure, except for Daredevil. Daredevil never, just like the Fantastic Four stuff, no action figure for Daredevil. The Spot wraps up the series, so the Spot shows up at the end. The Spot didn't get an action figure either, but I think the Spot's popularity from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse triggers that within people. But the Spot was never, ever, even within the realm of comics, even at this time, comparable to Daredevil. You would think that you would introduce Daredevil so that you could get the action figure. The wild thing is, Blade in this series gets an action figure. The Punisher in this series gets an action figure. Morbius, and the list literally goes on and on. Even the Kingpin, even Fat Suit Kingpin gets an action figure from this series. This is a great introduction. It's a great breakdown of who the character is, how the character interacts with the larger Marvel universe, and dare I say, it's a ton of fun. It was popular enough, and Daredevil is such a character enough that they did spin a couple episodes of this run into a DVD, and that says a lot. Because really, at the time, the DVDs were like the Villains DVDs, and then you had the Venom one, and then you had the Carnage Venom one. It might have been like 4 or 5, but either way, the one. It's not even Blade, and you think like the Blade ones, or you think even the Punisher ones would have got a DVD release, but no, Daredevil got it because there is this connection, and the way how Peter Parker and Matt Murdock work, just as alter egos and as heroes, they work together, and so we can fast forward this yet again into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and with Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, we get Peter Parker. Or, no, not in Multiverse, I'm sorry. Spider-Man No Way Home. We get Matt Murdock walking in to help Peter Parker legally in that. It's a perfect introduction. I don't always agree with it, but when it works, and I think it's worked every single time they've done it within media. So, AKA Padders, this is available on Disney+. You have to go to Season 3. And you have to go to chapters or episodes. This is really such a long series. But we want chapters 7. Oh, I'm sorry. We want chapter 6 and 7 framed and The Man Without Fear of Season 3. So you have to go to Season 3 on Disney Plus to get right here Daredevil animation in the 90s. The boom period of American comic books, and technically a boom period in American animation. All right, guys, it's the weekend. I really do. I love hanging out with you guys. Get yourself some cereal. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.